Um, my personal prayer life started when I got to know the Lord. That was back in 1991 when I gave my life to Jesus and started this journey. Um, the people I found in the church were very prayerful. And I remember I got a challenge from a young boy whom I found in the church. This young boy was around uh, 13 years, 12 to 13 years. And the first day I went to that church, he was the one preaching, that young boy. And he preached, he prayed for people, and it really touched me because I didn't expect such a young boy who was younger than me to do what he was doing, and I am older than him and I cannot do that. So I got interested to know the secret behind this young boy, what he's doing. So I started following him up and the other and his colleagues who are also with passion, a lot of passion in serving God. I started following to see the secret of their ministry. And I realized that they loved prayer. They loved prayer. And each day they could spare more than 2 hours just in prayer. So I befriended one of those young men and came closer to him, and through him I learned to pray. And I remember those days, each day we could spare time to pray with them in the evening from 7 to 9 every evening. And after that, we could still spend some other days of the week, we could spend more time overnight, just praying overnight. And some days we could go to, we could not do it in our houses because when you are in your room, the bed is there. So sometimes you are tempted to go and sleep. So we could go away from home and go to there was a big field, a swampy field next to the river. We could go there and pray from there. But what will make us pray most in that area? It's because there was mosquitoes. So that one could not allow you to stand in one place or sit in one place. So it kept us walking. You pray walking. And then you could not sit down because there is dew on the grass. And I remember I could make some like 5 laps of 500 meters, and that one could take me to the morning. You just walk for 500 meters, come back, go, come back for around 8 laps, and then it is already in the next day morning. And then maybe we could go to sleep for around 2 hours. We loved prayer as young men. And that time, I didn't know much about how my future would look like because we were raised in a very humble family whereby I couldn't afford a shoe, couldn't put on shoes. We couldn't afford food. Maybe you eat once in a day. So I didn't know how the future would become for me. But that was the time I was praying and telling God about my future. that God will make my future better, will change my family, will save my family. And through that, in 1993, I started hearing God's voice personally, God speaking to me personally. That was 2 years after my conversion. I started hearing God's voice clearly. And I remember God speaking to me, telling me that I've called you to serve me. You're going to serve me, and I've made you to be a token to nations of the world. And when I heard that, I didn't have an idea, because it was a very humble situation that was surrounding us. But now, as I am here, I'm the product of those prayers, because what God spoke to me in 1993, right now I'm a minister of the gospel, and I travel around the world, and what God spoke to me has come to pass through the prayers. So I want to say that my personal experience with prayer has been very much fruitful to me. Another thing that uh, that came up because of prayer is the salvation of my family. I was the in my family. My dad was not a Christian, even though he had knowledge of Christianity. My mom was not that. He was a religious person, and my brothers and my sisters didn't know the Lord. But when I knew the Lord and I started praying for them, right now, my mom is a believer. She's a strong believer. My sister, my brothers, they are the product of my prayers. So, personally, I have seen prayer bringing fruits in my life. And even up to now, I know that with prayer, God can change anything.